there's lots of considerations. Just like sometimes you're in the mood to just get really fucked, like up against a wall. I don't even want to know your last name. Scream it to the heavens.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just want to play, and it's not even about coitus in any way. So just like there are different moods for your body, what are you hoping to achieve from your toy? Right? Do you?
So I kind of have like a question. In a sense.
Oh yes, fire away.
I'm not too sure if you would kind of have the same outlook of the way that I'm probably going to phrase it. Because for me, I've seen some weird ones. What would you describe as probably the most ridiculous kind of one you've seen? Because probably the most one that I've seen is quite literally been like a chainsaw dildo, like a giant big on a giant engine.
Yep.
That was like, and as a 16-year-old, that blew my mind.
So I've seen one a step up from the chainsaw motor, and it was truly a pull start generator on the floor.
Ooh, that's cool.
Wow.
Yep.
Best one.
It literally looked like someone had taken a jackhammer that they break up concrete with and put a toy on the end of it. And to me, that's not, again, no judgment, but that is going to lead you to really walk a very fine line between pain and pleasure. Like, you better seriously know how to use that, because you could break someone's pelvic bone with that.
Like, yeah, you'd have to be
quite literally. You might not be able to walk a lot of lines anymore afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not. So again, that's not a judgment statement. I'm just saying that if you are the kind of person that enjoys walking that line, because I definitely know people that really love that mix, that, under normal circumstances, this would really hurt them, but in the right circumstances, it absolutely flips their switch. All the power to you, whether that's a generator on the floor, a chainsaw engine. I don't even know if they make this model of dildo anymore, but the name of it was His Majesty the King.
Oh boy.
And it was about 5 inches wide, and about 18 inches long. And it
5
had
inches wide, like diameter?
In diameter.
Yeah. I've seen one like that.
Yeah.
That's like that's like the size of a child's head.
Sarah, when I went to the erotic museum in Denmark, I have pictures of it. They had one of those. And then beside it, there's one bigger you can get from Germany, and they're called the Ramboners. It's the name of the product. These things are 20 inches by 18. So it's fatter than it is long. It uses 20 D-cell batteries. And you can order them from the erotic museum. And I remember talking to the tour guide, and they say they sell 4 of them a year. And I was like, wow, that's impressive.
That's honestly impressive. Yeah.
Are we ready for my geek knowledge?
Yeah, go for it.
If you choose to play with toys that are that big, I highly recommend a lot of the toys that size. If you contact the company, they will also set you up with a stand so that it's something that you could place on a hard surface.
Just to show off to your friends?
Well, or so you don't have to use it with your bare hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, because trying to navigate something that large with human hands, when
it's
the
literally
person
the size of you. How do you
that tool and that plaything is really going to have to concentrate on trying to let all those muscles go, can sometimes be super problematic. But if it is something you want to play with, sometimes it's a little bit easier to mount it onto a hard surface like a floor and just crouch over it. And whether that's vaginal, anal, whatever hole you choose to put it in, you can focus on just relaxing those muscles and taking in that toy, and then take it off the stand and maybe play with your partner. Or maybe you're just going to boogie down and do a totally different style of pole dancing at that point.
Oh my goodness!
So,
So I really want to call this to what C4 is about to bring up here because my mind is blown what he just put into the chat.
Ishpek told me to search up your husband, Rujholla, told me to search up these things called.
I've heard of Bad Dragon before, but this one
told me to search up Bad Dragon. So I looked up in the first thing and I posted the link in the chat.
The first one you just shared.
Viewer discretion is advised. But I need you to look at it, Rujholla. I posted in the Discord so you can look at what I saw.
So I'd like to describe this for people that are
this is interesting.
What C4 has, and this is a product line. They have other ones. So but in the way of the description of this one, just to describe, they're very oddly descript most of the time. If you look at Bad Dragon's products, this one is. I don't know the proper name. I'm gonna be honest with what these things are called.
Sandworm of Dune.
I've heard. Well, I meant in the way of what the toy is called. I've heard them called Ono holes, but I don't actually know what it's called.
A fleshlight.
A fleshlight. That is another thing.
Again, fleshlight is a brand name, so similar to like Kleenex to facial tissue kind of thing. Honestly, when you're ordering them for a store, they're just masturbating sleeves.
Oh, good to know.
There you go. That sounds about right. Anyways, this thing visually is quite literally, if anyone has ever seen either Star Wars or Tremors, this would probably be best described as the Sarlacc pit that Boba Fett falls into without a lot of other tentacles, which I'm sure you could probably find a way to probably apply for those. But it more aptly looks like the Tremors monster, if you've ever seen that movie. Where
now see like the little fingers in the actual entry point of the sleeve, where the penis would go in. If those little fingers are really flexible, like a polymer that is more that has a lot of give to it, and especially the ones that get softer with body heat, that could be crazy fun. That could be really crazy fun.
Oh yeah,
maybe.
Right?
I've never.
Thank you, Ishpek, for drawing my attention to that. That will invade my nightmares later tonight for sure.
Yet again, Mr. Preston and
maybe you can have even more nightmares.
You should quite literally, if you haven't seen their dildos, they're quite literally dragon penises. They're interesting.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing. It's just the plain matter of fact monotone voice that you just used to deliver that in all seriousness.
And what's the funniest thing? I've actually heard of Bad Dragon back when I was probably 17 on watching my favorite gaming YouTuber, and someone also put in his chat to check out Bad Dragon, and he decided to share it from his thing and reacted to this live, and I'm just enjoying the surreal moment of how this has come back around in my life right now.
It's full circle. You'll be working there at some point in your life.
I honestly didn't ever think this would reapply.
Well,
so
I didn't think that this would be prior to all just come back to the future. Oh my goodness.
So I was laughing a little bit with everyone here at the Villains Talk Show because I was saying like it looks a little bit like a small adult store has thrown up all over my desk because I just sort of wanted to play a little show and tell, which is strange for adult toys, but
please do.
It's kind of the theme.
I want to know what your favorite is.
So this one, which is unfortunately the one I left the batteries in, so this is going to have to go and be disposed of later, is just a plain plastic vibrator with a sleeve that's been slid on top to give it more texture and a bit more of the softness, because a lot of the new polymers and sort of rubber type feelings, like I said, get softer and more pliable with body heat. So the moisture and body heat from most of us when we're playing with these actually make them feel more flesh-like. So if you have a toy and it's really like it feels the material's too hard or that sort of thing, don't necessarily give up on it. Just see if you can find a sleeve to go over top. And this is also a slightly easier on the budget type of scenario, because you can get just a plain plastic, ordinary bullet style vibrator, but find a really great sleeve to go over top. And then that's a little bit easier on the budget as far as like getting a really great toy. So again, this one is the one that we were talking about before that's really quite angled. Yeah, so two little motors in it. So it will vibrate closer to the tip and down at the base. What a lot of women forget is it's only about the first 2 inches in our vaginal opening where a huge majority of our nerve endings are. So it's really just that first little part that we want to stimulate. So only going this far, and I should probably describe this to our people that are just listening. So only going that 2 inches down any given toy is really right to where that little silver bullet is in the tip of your toy is going to get the job done, because that's where all the nerve endings are. No, not all, but a huge chunk of them. So that'll do it. It doesn't have to be fancy. But again, like I said, my last talking point was, what are you trying to achieve, right? Like, do you just want a quick orgasm just so you can fall asleep better? Do you want to play with your partner? Are you looking to try and time your orgasms so that you can both orgasm together, you and your partner? So
really
that'll depict. It is, for sure.
It's really hard to do.
But if you know your body really well, and if you know your toys fairly well from playing with them, like I'm one of those people that can look in my toy box and say, okay, so I want this to last so long, so I'm going to play with this one, because I know this one takes a little more effort to get me to an orgasm.
I think too, there's an advantage to I've been married for 8 years since I was 18, and I think there's a huge advantage to that too, in that we just know, I mean, at this point we know each other's bodies pretty well. We know what's gonna work and what's not, and I think that helps with that kind of thing too. So
yeah. And then, are you craving a specific type of orgasm? Because women can get different types of orgasms depending on which body part you're stimulating, right? I really enjoy a very simple clitoral stimulator. So it's a tiny little button that you wear on your finger with a little battery pack that goes around your wrist.
Oh.
And it's tiny enough and slender enough, because the profile is not very big, that in the middle of coitus you can move your finger in between each other, or reach around behind your partner if you want to do any perineum stimulation for, a male partner that's with you. If you want to do any type of anal stimulation for any gender person who's with you, it's tiny and slim, it's light, and you can keep it on through your whole play. Use it on secondary sex organs, use it on nipples, on necks, on tongues. So something, again, it doesn't have to be fancy. It can be very simple. And, the versatility of it is only limited by your imagination and curiosity and, let's see how this feels, right? And, Sarah, you and your husband have that incredible bond of, like you said, you know each other's bodies very, very well, and are also feeling safe and comfortable enough with each other that you can introduce so many other things and feel so much freer about it, because you're with someone you can trust and play with, right? That feels so great when you find someone that you can just play with.
Questions and see what each other is interested in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So this is one of my favorites. I know this is super boring, but one of the reasons it's my favorite, it's incredibly light. It's very quiet. I can put this into my carry-on, into my toiletry bag, and it's not even as obtrusive as my motorized toothbrush. So I've taken this on an airplane plenty of times. No one thinks anything of it because it just looks like a cigar container. It's a tiny little thin tube.
Nice.
It's light, it's waterproof, and it's quiet. So traveling, this is fantastic. It's about the diameter of a typical finger. So if I really just want a quick clitoral orgasm, I can just crank the motor up because it's got a few settings on it. Kind of do it, and again, get that 20-second burst. If that's just all I'm looking for, right? Like, again, I just want to fall asleep better or get rid of a headache or something, right? Like this, it isn't really about pleasure. It isn't really about like enjoying myself. I just kind of want to get to the tail end of this, be done.
Gotta get it out of the way.
And this is my favorite for if I just want to play. So again, it's just a really basic, again, waterproof. This is what
all toys would be
you would buy in the store.
Yeah,
They're really not. They're really not.
Yeah, now that you say it, like I'm thinking about it, like wow, like you'd think they'd all be like waterproof or.
It's an aspect that I really enjoy because I gotta say, like playing in a shower just seems very, very natural. You're already naked. You're already slick with soap. You're already rubbing yourself down anyway. It's very easy for that to turn into play. Why not have more toys that are waterproof? But it is something that's very much
that's
to
something
consider.
that I enjoy when I with my partners as well.
Yeah.
Usually in the shower is probably like it's your time when you're close with somebody, right? Really, like,
yeah,
in that
for
moment.
sure. Yeah. So again, that comes back to that first point of be comfortable and safe, right? Like
safe, yeah. Because the shower, you could slip and fall and really fucking hurt yourself.
Yeah.
I was actually that's very true. But I was actually more thinking of make sure the toys that you're playing with in the shower are waterproof. Because that falls under the be safe category, right?
Yeah,
it may only have, one AAA battery, but it's still an electronic device. So let's not put it in water.
It's a shocking experience.
Ooh. In a very bad way.
Some people are into that.
Maybe.
Again, no judgment. You just
exactly.
have to be very, very careful that it doesn't go from titillating to, oh my God, let's call 911.
Yeah. Electric shock treatment is if you're enjoyment. Make sure you're practicing with chargers that are safe, that are not conductive to, shutting down your matal organs. That is kind of important to keeping your body alive.
Just remember, toaster should be used for bread.
Yeah. There's a reson that your heart runs on a completely separate electrical current from the rest of your body. It's because without your ticker ticking, the rest of it doesn't matter. So, so this blue part here is just the toy as it was, and again, this is the style of sleeve that I bought on top. The little bunny ears that are on the top.
Oh, it's a bunny.
It's a bunny.
As soon as you said it, I saw
that makes sense. Yeah, it's like I didn't get it right away, but now
as soon as you said it, I
got
saw
a little knobby tail.
I got it. It's a bunny.
Oh, that none of you are female.
No shit.
So they make sleeves like this in a myriad of shapes. I've seen every zoo animal there is.
I was going to ask if it was a Playboy brand. Because I thought right? You anticipate.
Pretty common.
It actually had a few of them. It had a butterfly in it, and a few that were just some very basic shapes, just bulbous and different angles, that kind of stuff. This one very much became my favorite. The rest of them unfortunately dried out. I didn't store them well. So again, consider storage. So the little bunny ears on the end of this one are really lovely. I enjoy using this one for play because it feels very much like having manual stimulation by fingers on my vagina. So since it feels so much like fingers, it's great to play with this, especially with a partner, because their hands can be doing other things too. So, like, a lot of bringing toys in to play with your partner isn't about competition. Sometimes it's about freeing you up to do other things, right? That you want to do. And yeah, so it sort of breaks my heart a little when I hear partners feeling threatened by toys. That's really heartbreaking for me, and I want
trying to take our jobs.
It's kind of silly. Yeah,
that's right.
They take our jobs.
I'm telling you.
Anyone I mean, I'm sure you'll say, and anyone will say, that nothing replaces the real thing. Toys are meant to enhance.
Nope. A toy doesn't give me that beautiful weight on you when you are both so spent from so many orgasms and so much play that you can hardly move. A toy doesn't give you that.
You have energy, or when you're being intimate with someone that you genuinely are trying to share a moment with, right? It
or you can have that silly moment of, I may not move again. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I still can't move my legs.
I hate to kind of wind it down, but we have gone a half hour over what we usually do. We've had so much fun. So,
I'm so sorry.
No.
No, not at all.
Is there anything we want to ask Rujholla before she... Anything else? Is there anything you want to say, Rujholla, before I close up the show?
Guys, thank you so much. I love opening up a dialogue with people and trying to sort of break down those stigmas and really open people up to, like I said, not being threatened by these, just play, experiment, and learn yourselves in your own body to the point that you can make the play with your partner or partners just so much better, because you'll be able to be the expert on your own body.
Oh, I've got a question right along those lines. Do you have any good tips for how to talk to very conservative Christians about the fact that maybe it's not evil to use toys?
Or to masturbate in general, honestly.
Honestly, I would say, to sort of like my last talking point of what are you trying to achieve, right? Like, if you know a friend and their partner are struggling with, say, conceiving, then some of the ways that you can make your body more receptive to sperm is to have the woman masturbate first and get everything so ready, then you can approach it that way. Are they more looking for the fact that maybe she's had a hysterectomy, and so vaginal dryness, lack of hormones, all sorts of stuff, or menopause sometimes can completely take away your sex drive? So are they going to bring toys into the bedroom so that they can still play together, but maybe, the woman in the equation just doesn't want anything to do with coitus, but still wants intimacy and play with her partner? So maybe that's the kind of toy that they could explore. So again, I would say,
there's males have weak sperm. There's ways to get direct kind of applications, I guess, in that regard.
I know a lot of people who are along the lines of masturbation is evil and you should never do it and all of that. So it makes it difficult to ever talk to anyone about anything.
And you know what? There's going to be social stigmas that people have grown up with and have had different experiences. You can't really counteract that just with one great shopping trip and them feeling comfortable talking to you about this.
That's true.
So all I would say in that case is to just keep reinforcing over and over that if they do have questions and if they do ever want to talk about how really okay it is, that you're there.
I think also on that lines of being comfortable and safe, like you brought back earlier, being able to be there for that person and kind of showing the fact that it would be better off to masturbate in a health and safe way instead of hurting yourself and then feeling foolish or embarrassed or coming to somebody that you felt like you broke some social taboo and now you hurt yourself and now you can't talk to somebody about the fact that you're hurt about
I was going to say that
in serious pain.
I would say I would say also basically the same thing. Like with something like that, that when people are taught that, it always comes from a place of scared, of fear, and lack of knowledge, and
body shaming,
and exactly, and you can't fight that. You can't fight that usually with just being outright. You have to. The best way to enlighten someone is just with knowledge and being open and showing that there is, because it's the same thing talking with someone who's been in an abusive relationship. You just have to show you can't force them, but you have to be able to say this is okay, I'm okay with this, and it's sometimes slow, but eventually people will open up. Everyone has their own little deep dark little sexual thoughts that eventually it just takes time to unbury those gravestones.
That urge to be yourself and be free and expressive, even in that sexual way, right?
Although a good way to do it, Sarah, is get a giant decorative dildo tentacle and just put it on your coffee table and put flowers in it so no one sees it, and when someone finally notices, be like, yeah, that's my toy. I leave it there so I normalize it for everyone.
Get a ramrod and put it on the statue at the crucifixion. That would be perfect. One of the giant ramrods.
That's more of a Catholic thing, but
I don't know my religion.
So the other problem, I suppose, that the thing I worry about more than how to talk to other people about problems they might be having is, I guess, I'm a person who worries a lot about what other people think about me, so I worry about people being judgmental. But because they are, but
but it's a reflection of themselves. I'll say that too. If people are judging you, it is because they're insecure in their own sexual adventures or lack of there. To be honest,
yeah.
I would just say yes. Of course, that I can't speak to what lives in your head. For sure. But I think with a friend who really knows you have their back, being able to come at it from a perspective, if you as your friend are sensing where some of their maybe issues are or something that they could use some help with, if you just come at it from that, safe, comfortable, friend love kind of place, and say, you know what, I hear what you're saying, that the stigma is that masturbation is bad. So don't consider it masturbation. You're just readying yourself so that when you and your husband are together, you can maybe achieve orgasm simultaneously. Because like C4 said, it's super difficult to do.
Yeah.
But the more you learn your body, maybe the timing is going to get better and better. So
curb your
just be there for them.
Self-exploration helps stop cancer and detecting things like that. So it's good to check your body.
Spoken like a true socialite of mine. Why change their thought process when you can just curb it? just give it a little bit of a curve.
That's true, right? It's not masturbation when you're just preparing yourself for marriage.
Don't get them to make the right turn. Just a soft curve.
Just adjust the roadway so it turns.
That is not something that would work.
It just depends on how you word it. You just got to be a salesman, Sarah. A salesman of sex, and that's who we have here on the talk show with us.
All right. We have now reached...
Thanks so much, you guys.
An hour and 40 minutes.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
I would like to really thank...
I had no idea it had been that long. I had no idea that we talked that long, but thank you so much.
That was super awesome. Thank you, Rujholla, for being on. You have been fantastic. I am sorry to everyone out there in cyberspace on the podcast or live who is watching now that you had nothing better to do. But I am so happy you spent it with us here. We had a great time. I am C4. Really beside me, Sara, Vike. Further down's Insanieac. Below us is the Great Grease Goblin. Sir Jeremy will be here next time with special guest Rujholla, and we are the Villains of the Villains Talk Show. We do shows 9 p.m. Pacific on Wednesdays and Sundays. Pacific. We do 2-shot Wednesdays, and we do talk show Wednesdays and 2-shot Sundays. Catch us Sunday for the 2-shot.
Check out the social medias and all that fun stuff. Check out the Patreon. We want to say thanks out to For the Wheel for being a Patreon.
Our only patron. We'd like to thank our only patron.
Be sure to be a minion and support if you feel like it today. Check out our Patreon link and all the other social media
if
links.
You enjoy
and also thank the Buzzsprout.
If you want to, I was gonna say, if you also want to, start your own podcast like we do, and perhaps even be on ours, or make some weird rivalry thing. You want to make a Heroes Talk Show? Start with Buzzsprout. Start it today. We'll support you, and it's a wonderful place, and you can do it for free. So why not check it out?
Our YouTube is After Good. Our Twitch is on screen. It is C4 a person. If you want to follow us there, or if you're listening on the podcast, just click that follow button, and we'll see you guys next week. That was the show!
Night, everybody!
Wonderful.
Yeah!
All of the people.